Sunny Silverstone is the venue for the first round of the 2023 R&G British Talent Cup. 32 riders set to take to the grid around this 1.64 mile long circuit. And Johnny Garnes will be starting right at the very back after not pulling into Parc Ferme following qualifying. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he fares from the back of the grid. The defending champion competing once again in the British Talent Cup for 2023. Here, though, are the front two rows of the grid. This is Harrison Desoy, who had a very good season last year. And looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do on the Microlise Cresswell racing machine. There is Harley McCabe on board the number 7, and well, we look forward to seeing what Harley is going to be able to do. Rhys Stevenson, the rider from Lincolnshire, on the head of the second row of the field, managed to get some backing from the RS Racing team and is part of that outfit for 2023 after running his own teams over the last couple of seasons, and very much looking forward to seeing what he is going to be able to do. And here is Evan Belford, really unlucky last season with that broken leg, managed to bounce back, and we'll be keen to see how he is going to fare. Likewise, Sullivan Moundy, incredibly quick in practice here yesterday, just missed out on the pole position by a whisker. And he lines up on the middle of the front row with this man, Emmanuel Brinton, on the Cavara Projects RS Racing machine, taking the first pole position of the 2023 season. Emmanuel incredibly fast and very much got a lot of potential to perform here. Lovely sunny day here, crowd watching on, and very much looking forward to seeing what is going to happen here for 22 laps of racing. Neil Mackenzie, we saw some brilliant action in 2022. What do we reckon here for 2023 as we get the formation laps? 23 laps then for the R&G British Talent Cup for the first race about to get underway. It's going to be an exciting one, this one. Johnny Garnes starting from the back of the grid after a infringement in qualifying. Didn't pull into Parc Ferme. He's lining up at the back, but I saw him in the paddock earlier, Neil. He's looking remarkably chipper for a man who's got to fight his way through 32 other riders.
I think it was deliberate. I think he's looking for a new challenge. He was so dominant towards the end of the season last year. He's got 22 laps to make his way through here, and as a young racer, you just won a race. So, no, it wouldn't be deliberate, but I think he'd be relishing the challenge, and what an achievement if he can start last and win the race. So it's just going to be fascinating. Having said that, we got lots of riders that are going to up their game from last year. Rhys Stevenson, 6 podiums last year, he pushed Johnny Garnes quite a lot, so he's not going to be slow up there at the front. And yeah, the front row there, Emmanuel Brinton, Sullivan Moundsey, we saw him race hard last year, and Evan Belford, another British Talent Cup race winner in the past. So yeah, Johnny Garnes has got a job on.
Let's have a look then, shall we, at the grid for the first race of 2023. Emmanuel Brinton starts on pole position with Sullivan Moundsey and Evan Belford on the front row. Then is Rhys Stevenson, Harley McCabe and Harrison Desoy on the number 55 on the outside of row 2. Charlie Huntingford, Ollie Walker and Lucas Brown lining up on row 3. Then Philippe Suroviak with Julian Correa and Harrison McKay on row 4. Then it is the number 65, Alexander Rowan. He has got the number 24 of Reece Frost and the number 64 of Clayton Edmonds for company. Then it's Turner, Banniston and Jaliff, then with Willis, Wilkinson and Goodman, Davidson, Pilpenko and Scott McPhee, nephew of older uncle, I should say rather, John, then Horner, Barnes and Banish on row 9. Row 10 is Jones, Harris and George Bowles, then O'Brien and of course the reigning champion Johnny Garnes, 32nd and last on the grid for this first race of the 2023 season. Bit of housekeeping before we get this one underway. Just want to send a big get well soon to Luca Hopkins, who had a big crash in free practice yesterday. Broken collarbone for him, sadly. Of course, will not be competing here this weekend at Silverstone. Hopes to be back later on in the season at Donington Park in May.
Yeah, all the best to Luca. Yeah, did a bit of season last year and then make a big comeback this year. So sad that that's happened early in the season, but get well soon. See you back hopefully at Oulton Park.
22 laps then for the riders to contend with, a couple of warm-up laps for them because of course this 1.64 mile Silverstone National Circuit is just so short that they need an opportune amount of time to get heat into the tyres and the brakes. There is the number 1, Johnny Garnes, starting from the very back of the field. 31 other riders that he will have to fight his way through. This is going to be a hugely exciting spectacle to watch. I mean, if it was down to me, we'd just stick an onboard camera and watch him for the rest of the race.
It would be good, yeah. It'd be Marc Marquez-esque. I remember I think Motegi was one race, maybe Valencia. No, Sepang was the other, back of the grid. And they coming all the way through to win. So, or Neil Hodgson back in 2000, Alton Park, back of the grid to win in British Superbikes.
How much has he paid you to say that?
Nothing.
Red lights on then, ready to go for race 1 of the RNG British Talent Cup. Lights out and we're racing. Good start off the front row for Sullivan, Mounsey, Evan Belfort getting away pretty nicely too as we head down into Copse for the first time. Who's going to lead? It is Mounsey then from Emmanuel Brinton through the first corner for the first time. We go as they head all through there, looking like everybody's made it relatively cleanly through. On the brakes, we're about to head through the left-hander of Maggots, then into the right-hander of Aintree and onto the Wellington straight. And as they all dive their way through, it's Sullivan Mounsey who is the data tag fast start winner, the leader at the first corner. Good getaway for him, and he still sits at the front of this race.
Yeah, great start. I just had kept my eye on Johnny Garnes there. He chose to go down the left-hand side nice and wide through Copse, went all the way around. I think he exceeded track limits there to try and grab a few places, but it will be interesting to see where he comes over the line. And there he is. He looks like he's halfway through the field already.
Yeah, Sector 1, he was already up into 17th place. He's making continual forward progress through Brooklands and into Luffield. This is going to be a hugely exciting prospect. I think it's a case of when and not if he's going to make his way to the front here for Johnny.
Yeah, well, as the further up he gets, the more difficult it gets for him, because everyone's going a little bit faster. What I love about junior championships is that you see some riders might be a bit average the season before, they come into the new season, and over the winter suddenly they've got fast, they've got confidence, they've got that year's experience under the belt. So yeah, Johnny Garnes is going to have to be careful with exceeding track limits there, so I think that's a couple of times already. But yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, taking nothing away from these guys at the front, they're all fast riders and out here to win the British Talent Cup.
Harrison Desoy was trying his luck on the outside of Evan Belford coming through Aintree, that right-hander. Then you can see the two RS Racing bikes sitting there in second and third place. That's Rhys Stevenson ahead of pole sitter Emmanuel Brinton. Into Brooklands we go. Evan Belford there on the red machine in fourth position. There is Johnny Garnes continually making forward progress, but look at how much he's pushing that front end up 17 places after just a lap and a half.
Pushing the front end and back end as well. You see the rear wiggling around there, but really is on his limit. But he has to keep his powder dry, he has to keep out of trouble. Looks like he's wide there again. I hope he wasn't on the green again. He doesn't want to get any kind of time penalties just for running wide here and there.
You have to be so careful with that, because of course the stewards will be keeping a close eye on track limits. There are a lot of lap times cancelled here in qualifying yesterday. Riders having their fastest lap times cancelled due to exceeding track limits, and well, the same rules are going to apply under racing conditions. You get a few bites at the cherry, but if you keep doing it and are gaining time, then the stewards will impose penalties, presumably time penalties that will be awarded after the race. Onto the Wellington straight we go then. Sullivan Mounsey at the front of this one, followed by Emmanuel Brinton. Then it is Rhys Stevenson, who is looking really good. Actually, Rhys has, as you said, multiple podium finishes there, just getting duffed up by Harrison Desoy. Evan Belford up into third place, but not for long, because Desoy tries to send it through into the left-hander, but Belford's going to have the tighter line into the right-hander, but Desoy just had so much momentum that he was able to hold that and then block him into the right-hander.
Yeah, nice riding there.
Oh, that's Mounsey out the seat and wide, coming through Luffield, off onto the gravel, kept it facing upright, but he's lost a chunk of time, a chunk of places, and it's dropped him out of this lead group for now.
Yeah, getting the gravel, and that sucks all your power away. These bikes don't have a lot of horsepower anyway, around 40 brake horsepower, so that just kills everything when you get out there. Never mind it being so wide on the dirty part of the track, certainly on the dirt there on the gravel, but good save there, picked it up and used the momentum to get back on the black bit.
The problem is when you're trying to get onto the power, if you are leaned over, all you're going to do is just continually run out wide, aren't you? And then you're going to go straight to the scene of, well, the gravel for Mounsey in this case. So it's now Harrison Desoy that leads the way on lap 4 then here, but not for long, because of Emmanuel Brinton. The slipstream, we can't overstate just how important it is on these lightweight machines. We know how much momentum counts on these NSR 250s, and you have to carry so much corner speed, but the slipstream as well. If you're not in a group and you're not following a rider in front, you can sort of sit there in no man's land.
Yeah, you have to use all your skills, the momentum, side grip, corner speed in the exited corners. Fastest lap there, no surprise to Johnny Garnes, just 2/10 outside the lap record, so we could see a lap record here go in the open round, the British Talent Cup. He's pretty much in the bunch now. He's in where Johnny Garnes now.
11th place across the line.
Yeah, so top 11 they're all together, so anyone can win at this point.
Absolutely. Well, the number one on his bike, and he wants to be number one in this race. He's got 10 more places to go until he gets there. Evan Belford takes over at the front of this one from Rhys Stevenson. So the Lancashire lad is demoted down into second place. But for how long? Coming on to the back straight, the Wellington straight. This is where we'll see so many moves being made. Of course, there's only really one left-hander here at Silverstone when you're on that left-hand side of the tyre. And I was talking to some of the riders and I said, does the left-hand side of the tyre get cold? Because, of course, you're not using it. And they said, well, it's not too bad on these bikes, but on the but it does have an effect.
Yeah, you have to be careful because there's a long way around before you get to Maggots, and that's an ultra fast left-hander, and you're pushing the front as you head in there. You have to be careful. Evan Belford, he's a rider that broke his leg earlier in the season last year, came back to win at Knockhill, so fantastic recovery last year, and no surprise to see him up there leading this year.
Yeah, I've known Evan for a good number of years, and he is looking really strong at the front of this one. There is Johnny Garnes continually making forward progress, now inside the top 10 for the first time in this race. Just behind him is the American, the Floridian Julian Correa for the Microlis Cresswell Racing team. You can see there he's just trying to get his elbows out here, but at the sharper end of the field, that was the number 29. Looks like he's making some moves there. Lucas Brown on the black machine. They're all bunched together now, this group, aren't they? There is Lucas Brown, and indeed he has got himself up 5 places from his starting position, is now inside this battle for the podium. Sullivan Mounty looks like he's regrouped following his earlier running wide escapade and is now back in contention after his earlier off-track excursion.
Yeah, Ganesh there looking like top 6 or 7.
He's in the Duff Mounty up here, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's keeping things nice. And as he's taking some risks for sure. You have to in the early laps. And we saw the front end bouncing around, chattering, rear end moving. But now settled down and just using his skills. You can see the leader, so he just needs to just keep everything sensible, keep everything in line. Cleanly through there as ahead through Copse again, back up to Maggots. 6 is his position at this point.
He's just making that sort of steady progress, lap after lap, corner after corner, as he just, incrementally taking those bits out, but it doesn't seem like he's taking too many risks at this stage. He's not elbowing people out of the way, is he?
No, he's letting things settle down. He's done a few block passes. He's pushing, but I'd say well within his limits. And got the number 48 Walker there right behind him, using Johnny's slipstream. And in one make championships, Johnny Gares was a standout rider last year, and I think that's a good thing, because you need someone to. 36 riders can't all be brilliant, so you need someone to look a little bit special, and you've got to say he was the man last year.
So many riders, of course, have been racing together for a good number of years, all coming up through the Fab Racing or the British Mini Bikes Championships, and they all know each other's racecraft. You can see there Johnny Garnes just getting a little bit wide, and that allows other riders to go through. Looks like Sullivan Mounty was again wide coming across the timing line. I don't think he had any room to use the momentum that he gained, did he?
No gravel this time, thankfully. But you can see Johnny Garnes, and what a fantastic target.
I'll tell you what, Mounty's going to have to be very, very careful. Let's see if we can piece together what happened to Garnes. I think he just had a bit of a moment on the rear, didn't he? So, he ran wide on the exit of Luffield.
Millimetres to the gravel there.
So close, wasn't he? You can see there, this is just absolutely on the edge of adhesion. No room for error there for Johnny Garnes, and thankfully he kept it facing in the right direction and will try to continue his forward progress. Evan Belford just pulling out of the slipstream there on Lucas Brown into the left-hander of Brooklands.
Rhys Stevenson hits the front for the first time, so nice ride here. One of the taller riders in this championship now. Rhys Stevenson also in the Red Bull Rookies MotoGP Cup this year. He was accepted in there quite late on, so great to see him gaining experience, and that's all going to be good for the British Talent Cup as well. So 2 championships to look out for him.
Absolutely. Rhys Stevenson raced with his own family-run team last year, now part of the RS Racing Squad, of course, who run the British Moto Star Championship a good few years ago, and he's now at the sharp end of this British Talent Cup on one of their motorcycles. Harrison Desoy very close there as well. Emmanuel Brinton, I have to say, he's just sort of been keeping his powder dry. He's been there and thereabouts, but sitting there sort of second, third place for the time being, and just looking pretty comfortable there, just waiting for the right time to pounce, and it seems so important on these bikes.
Yeah, it's still anybody's, like I say, slipstream's so important. So leading onto the back straight there, especially in the last lap's not the ideal position to be in unless you've got a second gap. It really isn't. So it's quite smart just to bide your time. Not necessarily save your tyres, because these Dunlop tyres will be in pretty much lap record condition from the first lap to the last lap. But just biding your time. Say if you've got something up your sleeve, maybe braking into Brooklands at the end of the back straight, save it for the closing laps.
What do you think these riders will be learning from running in groups like this? Of course, every race they do, they're gaining more experience, but how much are they learning?
Really depends on the rider. If the rider's thinking about it, then they'll be watching other riders, maybe just see where they're maybe slower or getting caught, and then if they're following riders where they can pick up maybe lines or whatever the rider in front's doing. Other riders just fully focused on letting the brakes off and catching the guy in front, and that works as well. So yeah, every rider's different without knowing them all individually. Yeah, I mean, some might be using their brains more than others, but it's a race to young kids, and race is what they will do.
26 places gained, make that now 27 for Johnny Garness as the lead changes once again at the front of this race. Harrison Desoy now hitting the front, from Emmanuel Brinton, in fact, actually, who's now managed to get himself past his teammate Reece Stevenson. Those two are going to have to be a little bit careful. It's so frantic in this one, but the last thing you want to do is take your teammate out.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. That's not ideal back in the 10th. Not even at half race distance yet, though, so yeah, I'm not sure there's any strategies coming into play. They're just kind of marking time. Fastest lap at the moment is still Sullivan Mounsey, 2/10 outside the lap record from last year, so there's plenty of time, and faster laps will come, I'm sure.
I reckon the race direction are going to be keeping another close eye on Mounsey. He was again a little bit wide going through the last series of corners. He's have to keep a close eye on how that all plans out for him as we come onto the back straight. Stevenson leads the way then from Harrison Desoy. Emmanuel Brinton, half race distance we're at now. Here comes Desoy trying to send it down the inside into the left-hander of Brooklands. Gets that move done really nicely through there. Just looking calm and composed on the brakes, and just having a look actually at Harrison Desoy's 2022 season, and well, he was very much in contention for a lot of the races. Took a victory at Alton Park earlier in the season, but after that his season kind of tailed off a little bit, had a few DNFs, and never really was sort of in the same lofty heights as he had been.
That's right, yeah. Kind of opposite to Johnny Garness, where he had a few falls early in the season, and then he got his act together in the important part. So yeah, but at the moment it's difficult to say who's going to win this one. Garness holding station at the moment.
Down the back straight we go. Emmanuel Brinton leading from Harrison Desoy, then Evan Belford with Reece Stevenson in tow. Sullivan Mounsey, the quickest man out on track, but he has exceeded track limits just a few times. There is Garness looking to try and pick the pockets of Reece Stevenson, the Lincolnshire lad, into the left-hander, which he does so. Inside the top four now for the reigning champion. How long until he tries to stick a wheel on his good mate Evan Belford? Through the right-hander of Luffield we go, and this has been a meteoric but not an unsurprising rise through the field for Johnny Garness, the reigning champion. He was so composed last year, maturity almost beyond his years in terms of his riding, and demonstrating that with this ride through the field.
Reece Stevenson having a look down the inside the cops, he returns the favour, so nice cheeky little pass there, and yeah, it looks like Sullivan Mounsey on the tail. So yeah, Johnny Garness not getting it all his own way at the front here, just past half race distance here, so still a long way to go, but it really is anybody's race, and Johnny Garness, sure, all the attention is on him, and what a fantastic thing, that's what a target for the other riders, and I mean, he is the standout rider in this championship, so any of the riders that are riding with him, or if they can finish in front of them, it's just yeah, it's amazing for them.
Ollie Walker, the fastest man last time around on the number 48, just on the left-hand side of your picture. See what Ollie Walker's going to be able to do. Harrison Desoy slings one, a late one, up the inside there of Emmanuel Brinton. Runs it a little bit hot into the right-hander of Luffield, but manages to gather it all up and not lose too much momentum. But now he goes from being the hunter to being the hunted.
Yeah, and that fastest lap of coming from Ollie Walker there, just a few hundreds outside the lap record.
Really impressive stuff there for Ollie Walker. Of course, these riders improving, and some of them, 24 of them in fact, going into their second season in the Honda British Talent Cup. That was Mounsey again, out wide again.
Might just have been one time too many.
Yeah, he's have to be careful on that. There were a few incidents last year where he just ran a little bit too hot. He had a meteoric accident at the finale at Brands Hatch in 2022. chain came off and he ended up being collected by another rider, brought out the red flag. Very, very nasty crash. And I spoke to him about it yesterday and said, did you manage to get away from it all right? He said, no, absolutely fine. After that, just decided to get my head down, get into my training over the winter and get back on the bike and try and compete at the sharp end. But the thing is, you've got to stop ironing out these inconsistencies, haven't you?
Yeah, it's they got a 9-round championship, including 1 round at the British MotoGP round at Silverstone here, obviously on the long circuit. So that's in August. So these guys got to be consistent. But there's a lot of races, 2 races every weekend.
So, across the timing line we go then. It is Emmanuel Brinton who leads the way, but for how long? Look at Harrison Desoy coming under pressure here from the reigning champ, Johnny Garnes. Started at the back of the field, 15 laps in. He's now in contention for the podium, and surely it'll only be a matter of time before he's fighting for that race victory. Harrison Desoy then going for the tighter line into the right-hander of Aintree. Johnny Garnes just sitting in his wheel tracks for the time being. Maybe one more there for Reece Stevenson, and Sullivan Mounty collecting him there as well. Both riders going down and off into the barrier. That's a huge shame there. Reece Stevenson, a big, big crash for the Lincolnshire lad. He just got a bit too greedy on the power. The back end slid, then gripped up, high-sided him off, and unfortunately Sullivan Mounty, an innocent victim in that.
Yeah, so unfortunate. It was a tiny bobble from Reece Stevenson heading through the right-hander there onto the back straight through Beckett. So it cost nothing, and Sullivan Mounty had nowhere to go. Looks like he's okay. Reece Stevenson had a nasty clatter there. It was a nasty fall, and let's just hope that he's fit as well.
Red flag's out. Yeah, red flag has come out. I thought that might be the case. That'll be a result then, because we've completed the required minimum race distance. So Harrison Desoy was the man who crossed the timing line at the head of that one. So we'll wait for confirmation on the results, but it could be delight for Microlis Cresswell Racing here, and it could be a podium for Johnny Garnes. I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? That, you've got to make hay while the sun shines, and that's exactly what Johnny Garnes did, made the good progress, and if he manages to salvage a podium from a back of the grid start...
Yeah, he stayed out of trouble, and sometimes that's luck. He could easily have been Sullivan Mounty there, get involved with another rider's incident, so thankfully he's okay. Really unfortunate, but there you go.
Harrison Desoy crowned as the race winner. That is his first victory since Alton Park in May last year. So a good amount of time between top steps of the podium there for Harrison Desoy, and great also for the Microlis Cresswell Racing team. They put such an effort into this British Talent Cup.
Yeah, every year with the youngster. John Cresswell, such a good guy. He's been around forever. Back in the 2-stroke days, 125 days, and then moved to the British Talent Cup. So puts out some good riders, finds a lot of talent. So congratulations, John Cresswell.
Riders then making their way through into Parc Fermé here. Delight then for Harrison Desoy on the top step of the podium in the first race of the 2023 R&G British Talent Cup. It'll be Emmanuel Brinton who will join him on the podium in second place, and almost, if anything, looking a bit forlorn from the body language there.
Yeah, maybe. Well, they always think Johnny Garnes, Brinton, I'm sure they both think I could have won this, and you've got to think like that. But yeah, sometimes these things happen, and it just proves when you get to that point in the race how important it is to go over the line first, because if you're going to go and count back, then anything can happen. So it really is important.
Visor down there for Johnny Garnes.
Hey.
Yeah, body language says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, damage limitation, that's okay. I could have won this, but yeah, we know that. But yeah, he's okay. He's not injured. He's in one piece.
That's good to see for Reece Stevenson up and seemingly okay, conscious, and they're being attended to by the race safe marshals and the medic team that have come down. And that was a nasty off there for Reece Stevenson, holding his arm. So hopefully it's not too much of a drama there for Reece Stevenson. Any update that we can give you, we will. Let's have another look at pieces together. Talk us through, Neil.
Yeah, through Beckett, see the right hand of Reece Stevenson, number 23. See the rear end of his bike come round, and then it kicks back. Sometimes you can save these. He was going down. He's certainly gone in the grass and going down. Unfortunately, he collected Sullivan Mounty along the way. Real bad news for him.
Well, Reece Stevenson up and okay following that crash, being put in the back of the ambulance. He was holding his arm, so hopefully that's only as a bit of bruising and a bit of a precaution there for him. Let's wait and see on that. Let's have a look, though, shall we, at the results in a few moments' time. But delight for Harrison Desoy, a smile on his face as wide as the circuit at Silverstone here. Meanwhile, Johnny Garnes looks like he has won the jackpot and dropped it all down a storm drain on the way out.
Yeah, another look at Reece Stevenson there. On his rear end, his machine comes round, hit him in the chest. Sullivan Mousey on the outside, just wrong place at the wrong time. He's on the grass, had to lay it down as they're getting quite close to the air fence there. Sullivan Mousey definitely okay.
It was that clip from the rear, wasn't it, that just made it such a big impact there for Stevenson?
Yeah, Reece Stevenson's airbag suit went off, so that's done its job, and just let's hope it's just maybe, like you say, a bit of bruising, a bit aftershock, but it sets up for an amazing race tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly has. It's going to be really exciting to see how the R&G British Talent Cup continues here on Sunday at Silverstone. Here are the results from race 1, though, after a red flag on lap 16. So it is then Harrison Desoy who takes the checkered flag from Emmanuel Brinton, and Johnny Garness completing the podium. Holly McKay there in 4th place ahead of Evan Belford, Lucas Brown, Ollie Walker, Julian Correa. Good result there for him. All of those riders all involved in the sharp end of the field battle with Ryan Frost and Charlie Huntingford. Good result for the number 76 on the Opt 11 Motor Technics machine. Philip Sorowiak, the Polish rider, in 11th place ahead of Harrison McKay on the Wilson Racing number 61 outfit. A good start for other riders as well, including Alfie Davidson, Alexander Rowan and Josh Bannister being the last of the points finishers. A couple of other riders will be hoping to make a bit more forward progress tomorrow, including Dan Goodman on the Vision Track Racing Team machine. He finished 21st at the checkered flag. Ronnie Harris down there in 24th position as well on the Fab Racing outfit. And we'll be keen to see what the riders are going to be able to do from these starting positions here tomorrow. Well, let's head down then to our winner, Harrison Desoy, in a few moments' time. He's in Parc Fermé with Shaky Byrne.
Harrison Desoy, what a race. Great little battle going on there at the front with Emmanuel Brinton. Obviously, Johnny coming through, but with the race getting stopped, you take the first win of the season. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, it's incredible. Again, you don't beat a feeling like it, you know. It's unreal. I'd just like to thank a huge thank you to everyone who made it possible. Essex Biker Centre for the boots and the gloves, and the team, mum, dad, everyone. Just thank you so much.
Great little team in the Microlise Creswell team. We know a lot about them. They've done a lot of winning in the past. Hopefully you'll keep that momentum going.
Yeah, the team's done a really good job. Huge thank you to my mechanics Parry and Max. They've without them, obviously I wouldn't have the bike to do what we did today. So no, super pleased, and just incredible.
Onwards and upwards. Great job. Well done, Harrison.
Thank you.
Well, great to hear there from Harrison Desoy, the winner of the first race of the R&G British Talent Cup in 2023. A very dejected looking Johnny Garness down there in Parc Fermé. I mean, considering he started 32nd on the grid here, Neil, and has made his way up through into the podium finishes, you'd think he would be delighted. But obviously that's the pressure you put yourself under as a rider.
That's the winning rider in him. He learned a lot. It was a great experience for him, and great racing, because he's been used to basically having the battle at the front and then clearing off and winning. So what a great day's training for him, and set him up for tomorrow, and I'm sure it'll be business as usual. But I'm glad he stayed out of trouble, and nice clean race, and he's all in one piece. But he knows.
And a much higher starting position for race 2 tomorrow too.
Yeah, because it's lap times from today, so he'll be in good shape tomorrow. But there's fast guys at the front, close to lap record, so anything can happen.
Well then, the podium about to take place. It is Johnny Garness who will sit in, or stand I should say, in 3rd position at the end of the first race of the R&G British Talent Cup. Great result also for Emmanuel Brinton. Look at the size difference between those two riders as they stand in 2nd place. And then it is Harrison Desoy, first blood to the Microlise Creswell Racing Team in 2023. What a great result for Harrison Desoy and for John Cresswell and the whole of that outfit here at Silverstone. Now the trophy's then presented. Johnny Garness with his first piece of silverware, and I'm sure not the last for this season. And Emmanuel Brinton there as well. Started on pole position, 2nd place for him at the checkered flag. And Harrison Desoy. Row 3 it was for him at the start, and 1st place it is at the checkered flag. Great finish for these top 3 riders. We look forward for more tomorrow as well. Well, let's have a look then, shall we, at the highlights from the first race of the R&G British Talent Cup. It was Emmanuel Brinton who started on pole position for alongside Sullivan, Moundy, Evan Belford in the mix there as well. Moundy got the whole shot into the first corner. All the riders managed to make their way through the first series of turns as Johnny Garnes started his ascension through the field. Already by the end of the first lap, he made over 10 positions from his starting place and continued that successive momentum. Problems though for Sullivan Moundy, running himself wide out of the Luffield corner onto the gravel, but managed to keep it facing in the right direction. We saw Johnny Garnes having a few hairy moments out there on track, but this was the moment that brought out the red flag. Reece Stevenson with a high side coming through Aintree. Sullivan Moundy, an innocent victim. Thankfully, both riders up and okay following that incident. The red flag being brought out meant that it was Harrison Desoy who was crowned as the first winner of the 2023 British Talent Cup.
Hit you right.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's it. Can you hear me now?
More top class live sport to look forward to.